Today I'm going to show you my top 6 tips for cutting. Cutting is a very advanced bilateral skill because it requires kids to do 2 different things with their hands, but at the same time. My top tip for cutting is to use thick paper. So using things like index cards or cereal boxes are great. This can help strengthen the hands because there's more resistance. Also, some kids, when they're learning how to cut, they will cut so quickly and they rush and they tear the paper. So offering that thicker paper is very beneficial for them. And also, thicker paper is just easier to stabilize. My second cutting tip is to cut up a wall. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a piece of paper with some vertical lines on it, you're going to tape it to the wall, and you are going to have your child cut up those lines while the paper is taped up at the top. What this does is this teaches the child the correct cutting position. So they will naturally be cutting away from their body with their elbow adducted, which means it's closer to their side. And this is really the positioning that we want. And this is just an easy way to work on that without making the child focus on too much at once. My third cutting tip is to either put a smiley face or a sticker, something on the top of the scissors. So this can help kids because they can check in and make sure they can always see that sticker or smiley face and be cutting in a thumbs up position. Some kids will try to rotate their hands downward. And again, you can always make sure that they are able to check in and see that sticker or smiley face. You can also use the songs that I showed in this video here to help reinforce that correct positioning. My fourth cutting tip has to do with rotating the paper. So once a child is able to cut straight lines, they're going to move to cutting circles and squares. So adding a red dot on the object that you're cutting can help kids because that's going to be our stopping point. So they're going to cut up to the red dot, stop cutting, rotate their paper, and then they will begin again until they get to the next red dot. And that visual can just really help children with stopping and moving their paper. My next tip is bubble cutting. So bubble cutting is helpful for kids who are able to cut shapes but really can't cut out those complex, more intricate areas quite yet. So what they're going to do is they are going to cut in a motion as if the object is in a bubble. So cutting around that first is a lot easier for kids, especially kids in like kindergarten, first grade, that they have a lot to cut out on one sheet. It makes it easier to stabilize if they do want to go back and cut out the smaller pieces, or again, they can just stick with the bubble cutting to get the project done quickly. My sixth tip for cutting is to work on snipping either Play-Doh, strips of paper, or straws. This is great for kids that are able to independently open and close the scissors, but they're not quite ready to advance the scissors or make continuous cuts all at once. This is very rewarding for kids because they get to see progress quickly. So each time they make a snip, they get to see a piece of the straw or Play-Doh fall off. And this is usually really enjoyable for kids. Let's talk about cutting progression. So around 18 months to 2 years, that is when you're going to first give your child scissors. I know it seems very young, but of course you're going to supervise them throughout. So they're going to start by just using 2 hands-on scissors and just exploring how they open and close. This is a great time to use Play-Doh. Then from 2 to 2.5 years, somewhere in there, that's when they're going to learn how to hold the scissors with one hand and use the correct thumbs up positioning. When your child's around 3 years, that's when they're going to practice cutting a piece of paper in half. That's around 5 to 6 inches. Then when they're 3.5, they're going to start to cut along a line. So they should be able to cut within a ½ inch or so along a 6-inch line. When they're around 4 years of age, once they've mastered the previous steps, then they're going to practice cutting a curved line. And then when they're 4.5 to 5 years, if they're doing well with cutting, you can go ahead and start working on basic shapes like a circle and a square. When children are around 5 to 6 years of age, if they're doing well cutting those basic shapes, then they can start working on more complex shapes, such as a heart. If you've enjoyed learning these cutting tips and learning about cutting progression, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'll be sharing a lot more content from my perspective as a school-based occupational therapist.